Happy summer solstice. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique D. Wilson, the founder of Holistic Yoni Care, also the Sacred Beauty Mystery School. And today I just wanted to come to you really quickly and wish you a happy summer solstice and share with you a little inspirational message that you can carry with you into your week to get the most out of this energy. So really quickly, what is summer solstice? We are now at the midpoint of the solar year. And so if you look astrologically speaking, the year begins in spring, right? When the sun enters the sign of Aries. And that is when we have the spring equinox where the length of the day and night are equal. And so as we progress through the solar year, the length of the day gets longer and longer until it hits this peak when the sun enters the sign of Cancer. And that is the summer solstice. And from tomorrow onward, the days will then start to get shorter and shorter until again they hit that equal point at the autumn equinox. And then the days will get shorter and shorter even more until we have the very shortest day of the year, which is at the winter solstice. That's the longest night of the year. And the cycle reverses. Then the nights will get shorter until they hit that equal point in the spring equinox again. And the wheel continues on and on and on. And so again, the summer solstice, also known as midsummer or Litha, is a time where we hit that peak of the year. We have a bird's eye view of the past and the future, our big vision for where it is we are headed in life. We have the ultimate amount of light, of insight, of inspiration, and that fiery spirit of transformation in our life at this point. And so this is a time at midsummer where we enter a crossroads. We become keenly aware, if you will, of our own mortality and the fact that there is a cycle in play. Things go up and then things come down and they go back around again. We live, we grow, we mature, we disseminate, we die, we regenerate, we transform, and we are reborn. And so this coming into this awareness of mortality, oftentimes people like to call this a midlife crisis. I don't like the word crisis because it doesn't have to be a crisis. It can be a midlife awakening of sorts. And think of each new solar year as a life in and of itself. So we are at a midlife awakening point as a collective. Of course, if you are in the northern hemisphere, of course, if you're in the southern hemisphere, this is a winter solstice for you. But here in the northern hemisphere, it's this midlife awakening point where you become keenly aware of the fact that you cannot control the forces of nature. You can't control time. These are natural laws that are present, and where we find our ultimate bliss and pleasure is in surrendering to the truth, to the reality of what is, not what could have been, ought to have been, should have been, or would have been. And so this is a time in the collective where there's a lot of news, there's a lot of stories, things vying for your attention of how much this is going wrong and that could go crazy. There are all these fears about what's going to happen to humanity and how is society going to turn out and where's my life headed from here. And my question to you is, where is your life right now? Have you lost touch with the present moment? The summer solstice is a time for us to come back into the present moment, because this is where it's all happening. Right now, in this present moment, as you are hearing my voice, this is it. This is the truth. We can't say whether or not we'll even be here tomorrow or next week. Yeah, sure, we can make plans. We can have a vision for what it is we are building, the legacy that we are here to establish. But ultimately, the truth is the reality of what is right now. So how can we make the most of this present moment? Where can we find joy, our pleasure, our peace, and our tranquility in the present moment? And so midsummer is also known as a fire festival. There were bonfires lit on hills traditionally to celebrate midsummer because of this time where there's so much light from the sun. And the sun is a purifier. It purifies through the process of refining, burning away impurities and things that no longer serve us, burning away illusions, helping us to see the truth. Fire is also associated with vision. And so having a clear vision of where we are headed that is rooted in faith and in trust, in a sense of trust and security, knowing that we are taken care of. That is what this association with fire is. So this is also, midsummer is a great time for any type of detoxing. If you're doing a cleanse, juicing, eating more fruit, drinking more water, bringing in those electrolytes, journaling, talking to a therapist, someone who can help you have a cathartic release and let go of the shadows of the past that no longer serve you. That's one way that you can use fire at this time to be able to cleanse your life. As I said, at this peak, as the sun is at this, think of entering the sign of Cancer as high noon, right? In the morning, the sun rises up on the horizon, and by noon, it's just overhead. It's at its highest peak before it starts to, head down towards that western horizon and fade again into night. And so we are at that high noon point where we have the ultimate amount of clarity. And so at this time in your life, as you lean into surrender to what you don't have control of, allow yourself to notice what you can discover there and how it is in surrender that we find our security, our peace, and our joy. Because surrendering to what is, leaning into our truth, tapping into our roots, allows us to find a sense of security and groundedness in who we are, instead of looking to the newscaster or to our neighbors or to our intimate partner, our family member, or our finances, our job, or whoever to tell us that everything's going to be okay. Cancer is a sign of the primordial water, this cardinal water, the great cosmic womb, the source of all life. It is where life is said to enter our realm of reality. And Capricorn, of course, the opposite sign, is where the soul transcends out, goes back to God, back to spirit, so they say. So Cancer is where we have this open channel to reconnect with the primordial life force, the water of life, the mother, the source, our roots, and really understand that our sense of security and groundedness comes from being at peace internally. And so it is through our willingness to have compassion, to nurture ourselves through compassion and through understanding and through our sensitivity. This is a very sensitive time of the year where emotions can be heightened. And that's a good thing, because through that sensitivity, we're able to connect, to nurture others, but also to nurture ourselves and to rediscover that internal security that comes from being rooted and grounded in a stable sense of self through our connection to source. And so I don't want to make this video too long. As you carry on throughout your day and then throughout your week, I hope you keep this in mind. We are approaching the Capricorn full moon in a couple days here, and I will make another video doing a reading about that and talk a little bit more about that energy. But as we close out this lunar cycle, and now that we are at this apex of the year, this is such a great time to take a moment, look how far you've come. And regardless of what's going on in your life right now, there is always duality. There's always something that's super positive, and there's always something that makes us want to pull our hair out. And it's what we choose to focus on that determines how our energy is carried, and that determines how we show up. So what are you choosing to focus on right now? What are you leaning into? What can you accept more of? Where is there beauty, abundance, and life and love in your world at this time? And how can you take in more of that to replenish and nurture yourself as you carry on throughout the rest of the year? So when it comes to a farming analogy, this time where we have the ultimate amount of sunlight, this is where we are receiving almost like that cosmic fertilization. And then we'll go into a fruiting phase. After this is the harvest season, where all the crops will be, all the berries start coming out, and all these delicious ripe fruits. But it is from reaching this ultimate peak of growth that we are now able to receive that divine inspiration that will produce the fruits as we go forward. So just really quickly before I hop off this video, I just want to encourage you today to not be distracted by all the noise. And if you have to, turn the news off. Turn it off for the next week or so that you can center into your own truth. It's hard to hear what your spirit is saying to you when you have so many voices talking to you, and fear is loud. It only takes one voice of fear to literally, it can dominate your whole week if you allow it to. And so I invite you to take some time to center into where you are now. And if you don't like your situation, that's cool. We can make plans to make things better, right? But before we bypass where we are and the people who are in our lives, no matter how annoying or how amazing they may be, we have to accept. We have to come to this point of acceptance so that we can make empowered and self-loving decisions going forward without judgment, but through compassion, through our sensitivity. And so if you have someone you can connect with over these next, couple weeks to talk to and to share your heart with, people who can celebrate your wins and who can lift you up and who are also as motivated as you are, but people who can also listen to you, share your vulnerabilities and hold space for you. That is beautiful and that is amazing. And if you don't listen to inspiring messages such as this one, I invite you also to come join our community. I had a Facebook group called the Sacred Beauty Sisterhood, and last year I had enough of Facebook, and so I'm not doing that anymore. I have now built a full platform into the website at holisticyonicare.com to hold space for us to connect, to talk to one another, to make friends and lifelong friendships. And so I will be adding more features to that, but you are welcome to come to holisticyonicare.com/group and become a member. It's totally free. And this is a place where we can experience sisterhood and connection. And so if you're looking for that group of like-minded people who can hold space for you and to witness your growth, come and join us. And bear with us as we add new members. Like I said, this is a brand new community. And so I'll leave you with this. Zen, right? I don't know if you've heard of the concept of Zen, but Zen is about being a channel for the energy of creation itself to flow through you and experience itself through all of your actions. And so this comes out of a very ancient Chinese tradition, Zen Buddhism. But I invite you to just bring a little Zen into your life. Surrender is a very challenging word sometimes to accept, because of the connotation of not being in your full power or your strength. But if you really dig deeper, surrender is a sign of strength, right? It takes a very strong person to surrender to the truth, to go beyond your ego and beyond the illusions and the things that give you immediate gratification that may or may not be true, to see the truth, to find that sense of groundingness. And so through Zen, through allowing the life force to express itself through our actions, whether that's doing laundry, washing dishes, writing a book, or talking to someone, or creating a YouTube video. This is Zen. I am in the flow, in the moment. This is not scripted. This is coming directly from my heart to yours. And so I invite you to allow yourself that process to open to this beautiful energy that is coming through at this time, and trust that everything is working out in accordance with your highest favor. So I'll leave you with that. I hope that you have a beautiful week. I'll catch you in a few days to talk about the Capricorn full moon that's coming up. And remember, come to holisticyonicare.com/group to join our new community. I look forward to connecting with you. And until we meet again, remember, you get to choose how you show up in life. Love yourself fiercely, own your story, and say yes to you. Happy summer solstice.